What's up, everybody? My name is Amal, and I am part of the Cryptosomniac community. I'm also the head analyst. I also have my own investment fund. It's called Pegasus Digital Asset Investment. If you've heard of me or you know me from different communities, come say hi. Come join the chat. Let me make sure other people have seen my... Let's see. All right. Let's see who all has joined. Let me check real quick, okay? If you just refresh this page, you'll be able to see the link, okay, guys? Like right here, that's me, okay? Let's give it a couple more minutes. Hope you guys are having a happy Friday. Hope the markets aren't scaring you too much. Yeah? Come say hi in the chat. Let's see. What's up, JK? I know it's a random time to do the YouTube live session, but I figured the market is falling, so why not, right? All right, so Crypto Rocker, have you checked out Skycoin yet? Oh my God, we got our first shiller. I love it. JD, what's up? Chris Menard, Crypto Master, what's up? What's up, John H? What's up, John Adams? What's going on, everybody? All right, we have a decent amount of people in here, so let me get started. All right, guys, again, for those of you who don't know me, this is your first time. My name is Amal. I'm the head analyst of the Cryptosomniac community. I also have my own investment fund, Pegasus Digital Asset Investment, pegasusdai.com. Go check it out. For the most part today, I will do my best to impart all the knowledge I have and give you the no bullshit, pure honesty of exactly what's happening in the market and how our community has been, you know, essentially bearish for almost months now. Not because we're, you know, bearish and we don't believe in the market, but rather that's what the technicals were telling us. And, you know, you'd be a fool to ignore the technicals, okay? So my philosophy is, guys, you know, always look at the raw price action, okay? And the way you do that is you can just go down here, just turn off your drawing tools, turn off your indicators, just really look at a fresh chart, okay? Just like this. This is raw price action right here, okay? And try to look at this on multiple time frames, whether it's on the hourly, 4-hour, daily, weekly, and monthly. The higher the time frame, the better grasp you have of exactly what's happening, okay? Because the bigger the time frame, the better confirmation that you have of a trend, okay? Another one of my pieces of philosophy is always start on the right of the price action and then go left, okay? Then you figure out why exactly has price come down here and stopped at this particular point, or why did it get rejected here at this particular point? Why is it finding support, you know, at XYZ point, okay? Always wait for confirmation, right? Technicals are... There are no such thing as predictions in technicals, okay? They're only probabilities. Anything could go up or down any given day. None of us have any idea, okay? But the probability and the trend will give you, you know, majority of the time, the right answer, okay? So, for example, if you look back on our Cryptosomniac account in TradingView, you will see that, you know, way back here in May or so, we had, you know, mentioned that Bitcoin will probably go to 5,500. Now, I had no idea exactly the time frame that would happen, and, you know, for many months, you probably would have said that, oh, this person looks foolish for saying that, but obviously it came true, you know, about 5 or 6 months after that, right, in November, once we had these big dumpy candles. Now, it's also possible that the price could have reversed and, you know, just broken my my theory of it going to 5,500, but I knew that the trend was with me and that the probabilities lie on the bearish side, right? So as they say, you know, in technical analysis, the trend is your friend, right? So for the most part, I knew that the trend was overwhelmingly bearish and it was pointed down, okay? So there you have it, right? And as I mentioned, always try to trade on confirmations, okay? You know, the best traders will always trade on not the bottoms of the top, but rather the middle, okay? They don't do the chase downs of prices moving up sharply or moving down sharply. They'll wait for a retest and a retrace, and then they'll jump into a trade. And before you jump into a trade, you should also know exactly where you're going to be exiting, okay? With all that being said, let's get to our analysis, all right? So let me check and make sure everything, can you guys hear me fine? I hope everyone can hear me. I hope all you guys are doing well. I have about 35 people watching, that's great. Thank you guys for all your support. So let's get right to it. Give me a thumbs up, guys, if you like my content and you've been enjoying it for a little while now, okay? All right, so here we had the 1 hour chart, okay? And this is, back here, we hit this low on December, oh, loud and clear. All right, perfect. On December 7th, we had this low of 32.12, okay? And you could see all the open, high, low, and close prices right here. All right, so you see right here, this candle right here, okay? I don't know if you guys can see it clearly. This hammer-like candle, it had a low of 32.12, right? And then after that, the bulls pushed the prices up. And usually when you have a big, you know, deep sell-off like we did for days on end here, you'll usually have a bit of a bounce back, right? Because remember, just like things can't go up forever, they can't also go down forever, okay? They'll always have a decent bounce back, and then more than likely they'll just go back to the original continuation, okay? So here we are on a December 7th movement, and after that, we had a big bazooka candle right here, right? Prices ticked up sharply, and people probably thought, okay, this is the end of the bear market. This, you know, green candle is going to take us to new highs or whatever. But you have to look at the pattern being played out, okay? So you can see that after this sharp movement up, it just came down again, retraced, and then moved up again, only to create a pattern like this, came down again, and then moved up slightly. And this created our head and shoulders pattern. Now, head and shoulders patterns have a significant high probability of breaking to the downside. And the way you draw these is you look for a left shoulder, right? And again, the neckline should be matched up, right? So you first draw a left shoulder, and then you have a head, and the head should exceed past the left shoulder. And then you have a right shoulder, and even the right shoulder should be lower than the head. So left and right shoulder should be lower than the head. And as you can see, prices here only got up to 35.47. Prices up here got up to like 36.47, $100 more. And over here, they got up to 34.85. And then we kind of moved on this ascending trend line sideways, right? So even if you didn't know how to draw these head and shoulders patterns, you could draw a simple line that touches multiple points, kind of like this, right? So here's point 1, 2 kind of, 3, 4, and then you see prices barely even moved up. So after that, we just had a big dump off, okay? So after that dump off, all we saw was this big, you know, bear flag being created, right? So remember, bear flags occur because after a big sell-off, prices find somewhat of a bottom and then they start moving up slightly, but they can't ever get back up over here. So what they do is they only move up sharply in like a channel like this. So they'll move in this little channel like that, and these create an L-type shape, and these have a high probability of breaking to the downside. Okay, so this is why bear patterns are created, bear flags are created. Okay, because there's a big dump off, and then the bulls step into the market and they say, hey, we're not gonna, you know, let the prices dig deeper. And then the bears say, okay, you know, I'll listen to you for now. and then they say, no, fuck that, I'm gonna dump more Bitcoin on you, boom, done. Okay, taking out the bear flag, price is dumped. Okay, so that's exactly how you look at a bear flag. Okay, it's a big dump off by the bears, a sideways, equilibrium found between the buyers and the sellers, between the bulls and the bears, right? It looks like a channel, but remember that the context of this is bearish. And then after that, you just have a big dump off. And if you want to short this, what you do is, once you draw the channel, kind of like this, right? You just wait for the break of this channel, kind of like this candle right here. And you just open your short right around here. And you take your short position all the way down. And that's really it. Okay. And for the most part, I really suspect that the price is going to come back all the way till this level right here. So you can set your, stop loss for your short right up 1 to 2 percentage points over this. Okay. So that's how you would essentially play this market for a short position. All right. I got a bunch more people. Please say hi if you just joined. Again, I hope you've been watching me long enough to know that all we do is provide honest, analysis, no bullshit. Our community is here to help everyone recover from their losses. Hey, Alex. Hey, Long Range. WSR is here. John Donahue is here. Ryan Jack is here. Thanks, everyone, for watching, guys. So here we are, essentially creating this big head and shoulders pattern. And after this neckline was broken and after this ascending trend line was broken, we just dumped off, right? And as I mentioned, probably weeks ago, that 3,000 will be a level to be tested. However, 3,000 is not even that strong of a support, which is the sad part. Probably you might dig in deeper into the $2,900, $2,800 area. So we'll have to see exactly how that's going to play out. But remember that, this big candle right here, okay, this is a huge doji candle, right? And I wanted to point this out because, another reason why I knew that this bear flag would be breaking to the downside is because this candle right here compared to this one, you could see that this low violated this previous low on December 7th. Okay, usually a violation like that doesn't just happen, on a off chance. It happens because there's clearly a decent amount of selling happening, but the buyers just said, no, thank you, we're going to push the prices up, but they didn't follow through. Okay, so they pushed the prices up from here, but then they just moved sideways, right? And they didn't go higher from here onward. That would have been a good follow through and potentially a long position. But you can see that we just basically floated in this channel. And then after that, this candle right here tells you the story that we tried to move higher, okay, but the sell pressure was too much. And then prices dumped again. And you can see now over the hourly period, these candles right here opened and closed lower than most of these. And this is another sign that tells you that, hey, we're looking, even more bearish and potentially have a dump off scenario coming. And that's why we talked about this bear pattern breaking to the downside. So now let's look at the higher time frames and see exactly what's going on. Okay. All right. So higher time frames, again, you can see as per this 4-hour chart, right? Even these candles right here. Okay. So starting from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically for the last 24 hours, okay, we've essentially taken out the closing and opening of these candle bodies from the low of December 7th. Okay, so this tells you that, hey, we're already looking bearish, right? And so this would indicate to you that, hey, it's time to either open a short or close out your positions, whether you're in altcoins or long positions in BTC. Okay, so now we have to see exactly where price is headed. Well, for that, we have to look at the daily chart and see exactly what's going on. Okay, so again, price looks heavily bearish in the daily chart. And another thing to point out is there was just an interesting fractal that I had pointed out, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe just a week ago rather. And it was this, purple like W style movement pattern to the upside, and then a hard rejection and decline into this green descending channel. Okay, and as you can see, that channel sort of created this trend line right here, which is this line right here. Okay, and you could see that trend line coming down all the way here and holding the price down. And again, this fractal right here, this green rectangle and this purple, is similar to this. So here you have the purple where you have a slight price movement up and then dump off into this green little channel, and now we're essentially just moving down into the channel, right? Kind of like here. Okay. All right. Let me look at some questions if we have any. Kathy, Hannon, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments, guys. Please give me a thumbs up. You know, again, if you've been watching my videos and analysis for a while, come join our community, guys. You know, again, we have a ton of people in our community, and I'm part of all these channels, and you know, everyone likes to join and watch my videos. I always post up my videos, and you know, I know there's the honesty is it's hard to come by in the crypto space right now. I know that, and so I'm doing my best to help you guys essentially, you know, recover from your losses, or hopefully you make some gains out of this market. Okay, so we've put on, you know, a lot of trades in these channels right here. This is how our Advantage program works. Our paid program allows you to have analysis and trades for short, medium, and long term. I provide, you know, daily Bitcoin analysis videos for our Advantage community, as you can see, and multiple updates at that, right? And I do these, you know, free YouTube seminars once in a while, just to give you guys a glimpse of exactly what we do, but a majority of my time goes to my community right here, okay? All right, so back to price action, okay? So on the daily chart, as you can see, and let's turn off some of this stuff right here. And again, let's look at the raw price action, right? So if any person was looking at this chart, okay, you don't have to be an expert in technicals, right? You could just look at this chart and say, from way back here, it really doesn't seem like we've recovered, okay? I mean, all we did was, you know, move down sharply, have a bit of a, you know, blowback back to 4,400, and then dump off again. Again, like I said, when you have, you know, heavy sell pressure like that, dumping off, you're going to have a, you know, a bit of a relief rally to the upside, but then it's going to dump off again, right? So this is your confirmation right here that once you see a candle like this, and then you see a big bearish candle, this is your sell signal right here, this candle right here. Why? Because if you look at the context as a whole of this price movement for the last 2 to 3 weeks, you know that this is basically a small little relief rally, okay? And on the contrary, you could have also taken a position, a long position kind of like this. So you see this hammer right here. You see this big candle being printed, okay? And as soon as the price gets above the wick of this candle, you can take a long position and ride this candle all the way up. And when you see this big bearish candle coming, you could just sell off when the candle reaches, you know, the low of this wick, which is right there, okay? So that's at least, you know, 1.5% or maybe 2 percentage points, but that's how you play it safe, okay? Or you could just short the market and be safe in that sense, or just stay out, right? All right, so let me go back to my notes and see exactly all I've posted, okay? So I'm gonna pull up the BLX chart. This is, again, you guys can check this out too. The Brave New Coin Liquid Index, this basically allows you to see all of the history of Bitcoin from its inception, and it gives you an idea of what kind of trend lines were created, what are the average prices between the exchanges during this time period that, you know, Brave New Coin has been gathering data, and it gives you a good picture of exactly what's going on. And again, these prices are only found at the closing day, at the day end. So that's why you're not seeing a price reflection right here. We're only $100 up right now. Okay, so here we are on the weekly chart. And as you can see, from way back here, if we were to draw a best fit line of this chart right here, right? You can see clearly that price was resistance back here, and then it exceeded and had a nice bull run, and then came down and found some support at this same trend line right here. And then now we have broken the trend line. So this is definitely not a good sign, but I'm not too concerned because trend lines can always be reshaped and remade, okay? So that's not my biggest concern. However, if we look at the 50, 100, and 200 weekly moving averages, so here's a 50, which is a blue, yellow is a 100, and 200 is the red. You can see clearly that the price is coming very, very close to bouncing off this 200 moving average on the weekly. Right? It hasn't completely touched it yet, but it will soon, and that will probably be in the next week. And that's right around, you know, $3,100, $3,000, okay? Which also, surprisingly enough, coincides with our order block. Again, if you don't know what order blocks are, please go watch my previous videos on the Cryptosomniac TradingView channel, or come join our community and I can explain it to you. So basically, in this case, you could see the order block right here, where price had a big down move before a big up move, right? So the range is from $4,600 or $4,700 to $3,000, and we're digging into this order block. So basically, these previous buyers back here are holding on to their positions right here, okay? And they're okay with, you know, basically breaking even for now, but at some point when prices dig in deeper, their stops will hit, or they'll call it quits too, because they'll think that the price is going to dig deeper. And this is when the price will then accelerate further to the downside. And that's why I say that 3,000 is really not a strong support. Probably the next OB might be, which is anywhere between, you know, 2,900 all the way down to $1,800 or $1,900. Okay. Let me go back and check the chat and see if anyone has questions so far. Questions by WSR. He has a lot of questions. I love it. Okay. So Amit first asked, wanted to know which method works best for BTC, like patterns or Elliott waves. So Amit, so one thing to understand about technicals, right, is first understand your asset. And BTC being, you know, a unique asset, it actually trades more like a commodity. Okay, so for example, in commodities, you guys, I'm sure, have seen how Elliott wave patterns are, right? They're 5-wave patterns. You know, they're 1 wave, 2 wave, 3 wave, okay? 4 wave to the downside, and then 5 wave, okay? So in traditional markets, in stocks and equities, this 5-wave pattern has the 1 wave going up like this, 2 wave down. I mean, just like any other Elliott wave. But the 3 wave is usually the largest one in, you know, the stock market, okay? And then 4 wave is another down, and then 5 wave is also the finishing wave of that. And then after that, you usually have A, B, C correction, or it could be A, B, C, D, E, and it doesn't really matter. But in commodities, typically the 5 wave is the longest of the waves. So here's your 1 wave, 2, 3, 4, and your 5 wave is astronomical. Okay, so that could be seen in this market right here. I haven't drawn the EW waves on this chart for a while, but for the most part, you know, this big boom move right here will probably come up. You know, this might be your big 5th move right here. Okay, this is your 5 wave of your Elliott wave pattern. Okay, and you know, that is one way that people can chart. Now, basic, you know, horizontal support and resistance levels, for the most part, will get you your most bang for your buck, right, guys? You know, those who have like 50 different indicators on their charts and like, you know, 1,000 different lines, I mean, for the most part in crypto, like, you know, they don't really know what they're doing. If they're in traditional markets and they have those, they probably have a specific purpose why they're doing that. But for the most part, you know, those in the crypto field are kind of just winging it, to be completely honest. And that's no knock on them, but that's just, you know, them trying to make a buck. But it's misleading to you guys because I know you're really here to learn and try to not lose money, okay? So here we are, you know, on the weekly chart, okay, respecting this ascending trend line, right? But we've broken under it, okay? Now this is a clear violation of a multi-year trend. Now what this means, I mean, again, you could create a new trend line. However, we have to see exactly where price will stop, but we don't really know where price will stop, okay? And so there's no need to try to catch a bottom, right? Unless you're dollar cost averaging into certain alts or even Bitcoin for that matter, that's okay. But, you know, I wouldn't think of putting, like, say, all my money at this particular point just because you think it's cheap, and because you have no idea if prices are going to go in deeper. I mean, you may have a better buying opportunity, right? So like I pointed out last time, okay, if you look way back here in January 2015, you see that prices went to the low of $163 right here, okay, on this candle right here. And then they spent months in this trading range between, you know, $280 or $300 and 198. So almost 9 months they spent time there. So that's enough time for you to accumulate, right? I mean, I think so. But for the most part, prices haven't found a bottom yet, and they're not creating higher lows like they have right here. So why jump in front of a moving train or catching a falling knife, right? Why not just wait patiently and wait for the market to give you signals? Because like I pointed out in my last YouTube video, retailers never move the market, guys. We are, you know, we are nothing but followers to the smart money, and wherever they want to take the market, that's exactly where the market will go, whether it's up, down, sideways, etc. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're patient and that we know not to piss away our capital, because remember, you know, rule number one in this market or any market is, you know, preserve your capital. Rule number two is to grow it. And if you don't have any capital preserved, how the hell are you going to grow it, right? All right. So going back to this chart, as you can see, multiple months of accumulation happening right here, higher lows, tight little range, and then prices started taking off from the vantage point of, you know, 163 or $200 all the way to 20,000. Now, I'm not saying that price is going to reach like 200,000 or something, but I'm saying that if you took that same view and you saw that price will hit a bottom at some point, the bulls will defend a nice tight zone where the prices just don't go any lower for weeks or months. That's when you step in. That's where I'm sure you've saved enough mental capacity as well as financial capacity to buy more Bitcoin or crypto, whatever you want to buy. And that's when the market is safe, okay? But for now, it's really a gamble. And, you know, trading is not gambling. Hodling is not an investment strategy, right? Anyone who told you to hodl over like the last 10 or 11 months is an idiot, because they didn't know exactly what to do. They were just perplexed. They were just as perplexed as you are, because, you know, they started losing 50, 70, 90% of their stash, and now they're just screwed, right? So my goal is to at least reorient your mindset and your thinking of how markets operate, so you don't, you are not, you know, succumb to the whole hodl strategy, which again is not a strategy. Okay. All right. So here we are. WSR, T sequential, itchy cloud, EW for momentum, raw price action. Yeah. So, you know, like I said, right, raw price action should be your first thing. You should always look at a chart with just clean price action like that. Then you can start turning on moving averages. Then you can start drawing horizontals. Then you can start, you know, throwing on maybe your Ichimoku cloud or support and resistance levels. Okay. All right. So WSR has some questions. He said, "What will ICE/NASDAQ physical futures influence the chances of ETFs?" All right. So those of you who don't know what ETFs are, exchange traded funds, basically, you know, it's a basket of stocks or commodities or bonds that can be traded on, you know, most brokerages and exchanges. Okay. And so the way those work is, for example, if you want to buy the tech sector, right, but you don't have money to buy a whole, you know, Amazon stock, which is like $1,600, and an Apple stock, which is like $150, but you wanted to buy Amazon and Netflix and Google and all these, right? You will find an ETF, which is a tech ETF. So what they do with your $1,000 is they'll spread it, you know, among those with other people's money. And so then they could buy whole shares. Okay. So you get a piece of the price movement without having to buy the whole stock as a whole, right? Or rather a whole share, excuse me. So the question is, will it influence the chances of ETF approval? Personally, I definitely think there will be a slight chance of improvement because, you know, ICE is Intercontinental Exchange. They own NASDAQ, okay? They're clearly a reputable player in the market. However, when it comes to the SEC, the CFTC, they have to look out for the average consumer and the retailer and make sure that this ETF isn't just, you know, like a bullshit scam, which is pretty much like half of the crypto space, right? So when these ETFs are made, the basket in which the cryptos contain, are they good projects or are they just scams of people fishing for more money without ever presenting a project? So that vetting process might take a while. And that's why I think, you know, ETFs might be still a ways away, maybe like another year or two. I don't really know. But that's, if I was in the SEC and CFTC, that's how I would look at it and look at the average consumer who just looks at crypto as a big, you know, slot machine and thinks, oh, I'm just going to get rich off this. So let me just buy into this ETF, okay? So Backed, which is, you know, the brokerage firm that ICE is creating for crypto, needs to make sure that they have a proper vetting process for which cryptos that they dump into their basket for their ETF. So I do think that it will have a positive influence, but I don't think that they'll sway their decision one way or another. If the SEC feels that this is still a dangerous space, they're just not going to approve the ETF. Number 2, will ETF or physical futures help find real BTC value? Yes, I think there's definitely a possibility that there's a high chance that BTC will, in the near future, find its real value, which could be pretty high, right? I personally think so. The fact that, you know, it's limited in quantity and you can never create more, it's in confiscatability, that's all that adds to, you know, the whole, you know, advancement in prices and its allure to investors, right? And so I do think that at some point ETFs will add to the ETF, or the ETFs will add to the BTC's real value. I don't know what that value will be, but I think it's going to be pretty high. Number 3, is there a price other than 0 where Amal walks away from crypto? I mean, so let me go back to this chart right here, okay? So if we look at this chart as a whole, right, and we see that, you know, for the most part, I mean, we've seen a nice huge run up from Bitcoin way back here from $200, okay, in 2015. And after that, we went all the way to 20,000. Now we've retraced about 80 to 85% of the way. But if we essentially come back to this previous support, which was once resistance, right? This area right here. Remember, previous resistance becomes new support, you know, for the most part, okay? Now this $1,200 area, okay, could be a possible area that we could bounce, okay? But for now, I don't really know. For now, all I'm going to do is look at the local price action, see, hey, we're in the $3,000 zone. Does it look like we're bottoming out? Does it look like we're creating higher lows on a multi-week, multi-month time span like this right here in that 2015 range? Or does it seem like we're just going to go lower and lower? So to answer your question, it really depends, you know, if we're going to go all the way to $1,600. And like I said, you know, 60 to 70% of my money is still tied up and waiting to be put back into the market. And I hope, you know, if you join our community, you know, I will let you guys know when I am putting money back into the market. So you can either shadow trade me, or if you feel like, hey, I think I'm almost wrong, I'm going to jump in and buy BTC at 3,000, go ahead. I'm more than happy to be proven wrong, okay? But for the most part, I haven't seen a bottom, right? So why would I, you know, buy here at this price? Now, dollar cost averaging, I have been starting to buy certain altcoins that I've mentioned in our community, okay? One of them, and I will give you guys a free trade opportunity, is this one right here, okay? So Horizon is a really great project that I've been following for a little while. And another reason why I want to invest in them is because Grayscale, which is a big investment fund, has, gotten in bed with them at a pretty heavy price. I think it's like 12 or 18 million dollars. I forget exactly what the number is, but please go on their website and check out their website, grayscaleinvestmenttrust.com, I think, or maybe it's just grayscale.co. But for the most part, Horizon is something that intrigues me from the standpoint of, big investment funds like that being invested in this crypto. Okay, that's one. Another one that I put out a little while back is XLM. Okay, XLM is also one of my favorites because I really think, from the standpoint of just pure fundamentals, XLM is, clearly looking like a company that is ready to take on the throne that Ethereum could not hold. That's how I see it. Okay. Again, that remains to be seen over the next few years. What kind of advancements and developments that they have in their community. But for the most part, I really do believe in XLM. And, here are some targets that we had, back in the day that I put up, and people made, anywhere between 20% or almost, 35, 37% in this market right here. But now prices are clearly dumping off, as are most prices in crypto. Okay. So that just means that I will probably buy XLM as prices dip, because again, this is a project that I believe in the long term, right? ETH is also another one that I really still like, and I think it's still really significantly undervalued. And as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, ETH will more than likely fall back, towards this 85 level if price had broken 154. And this was way back in, when was it? Way back here, I drew that, okay, in September. Okay, in September, I wrote this down. So as you can see, prices came down to $85, and then after that, they went all the way down to, or they look like they're headed down to 74 potentially, which is the next support, which lines up right here. And then beyond that, it's $40. And I don't even want to think about that because that's scary. But yes, GFA airplane, yes, XLM did break the trend. And because it broke the trend, just like most things are breaking the trend right now, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and XLM, I know it's really scary, but think about the people, back in 2015 in the Bitcoin bear market, where prices went from, let's see how high they went. They went from like $1,200 or something. Let me see. So they went all the way to like $1,180, right? And they went all the way down to $165 or $163. Now that's got to be scary, right? That's like a 85% drop, okay? Same thing right now, right? If we look at the historical bear markets, so from this high to this low right here, that's a 93% drop for the 2011 bear market. From here, which is about 1,200 to this area down here, it's about an 85% drop. Now let's see where we are today, okay? So from this 20,000 high, so let's just say like 19, let's see, I think it's about like 19.7 or 19.8. Let's just say it's like 20,000 all the way down to, where are we right now? We're about like $3,200, right? So it's about like 84%. You could clearly see from the historical standpoint, Bitcoin is used to being dumped, 93% in 2011, 85% in 2015, and, to be determined, TBD, in 2018. Now, again, this bear market could persist all the way into 2019, maybe even, March through July of 2019. Now, I had stated that March 2019 was my target for the low of the bear market, okay? Because I think that lines up, that time frame lines up almost exactly with this, big bear market time frame. Okay, so the bear market started in November 2013 in 2015, and it ended with a low in January 2015. Okay, so if we draw that out, so again, same thing, right? December or January we had the high, and after that we've essentially come down to close to December and January of 2019 now. Okay, and that might be your low, and then after that we might start seeing higher lows, just like we did back here, starting maybe February or March, and then hopefully a year after that, so say 2020, we might start seeing 10,000 and 20,000 Bitcoin being taken off, and then maybe in end of 2020 or at 2021 we might see all-time highs of 20,000 being taken out, maybe 40,000 or 50,000. Again, I don't really know. Not trying to shill Bitcoin, but you guys know, if this space, was useless and you think it's going to die, you wouldn't be here watching this channel, right? You'd be off, I don't know, learning and trading gold or, the equity markets or other commodities, right? So here we are waiting for this market to bottom out and see what signs it shows us. Okay. So let's take a look at the monthly and see how the monthly is looking. Okay. All right, so the monthly chart, wow, that does not look good. Okay, so on the 50-month moving average right here, it, again, same thing as a weekly, right? It held off in 2015 a bunch of times, the 50-month moving average. And we're coming up pretty close to it right now. So that price is currently around, on the 50-month moving average, is right around like $2,900. So like I said, 3,000 is not the best support, but maybe $2,900 or $2,800 might be. And we might have some wicks like digging through, kind of like this one right here. But I would hope that this 50-month moving average is respected for Bitcoin, or else it could just, spell some pretty bad bad signs for Bitcoin to be dumping lower. And another thing that I talked about last time is, where exactly do I see prices going if they keep digging in deeper? Okay, so if 3,000 is broken, I see $2,900 to almost $1,900 as the next order block, and my final point would be, I would hope that we bounce anywhere between $1,300 and $1,900. Why? Because there's a clear gap that was not retested. Okay, so this area right here, anywhere between $1,200 to $1,900, this area was not tested as a support and resistance flip, kind of like this right here, right? You can see prices dug up right here, got rejected, but then went up into this bull market and then came back down and retested this green little zone right here. Okay, this sideways green rectangle. Now we haven't seen that in this particular area right here. Okay, so if I were to make a prediction and say, what is the most ludicrous prediction I have, I would say that prices will bounce somewhere between $1,200 to $1,900. Now I know that's a big range, but I would expect price to come down and retest this level as support and make sure that there's enough buyers and enough demand in this area to not let prices fall anymore. Because at the end of the day, guys, technicals is all about supply and demand and understanding exactly who the buyers are, who the sellers are, who controls the market, and if there's enough demand to push prices higher, or have people just given up hope and prices will go to zero. Okay, I mean, again, I highly doubt that, right? All right, I got 52 people watching. This is awesome, guys. Hey, guys, please join our Cryptosomniac channel. Seriously, like, we have the most amazing content, I personally think, out of any community. And anyone here watching right now can tell you otherwise, right? They will tell you that we're active in the community. We answer all the questions. I provide daily Bitcoin analysis, and we have multiple updates. We have long-term, short-term, medium-term channels for trades. We have an ICO chat. I also have a education channel for if you want to learn technicals, if you want to learn fundamentals. So here's another thing that I'm going to post up in our channel right here. This is a great article written by someone who was able to vet how to invest in particular cryptocurrencies, right? What exactly is the process? What you should do to make sure that this, crypto project isn't a scam, the use case, market size, who are their competitors, technology, working product, roadmap. I really think this is a fantastic article. I think everyone should read it. So I'm going to post this in our community at some point. Okay. But also, oh, JF Airplane. Oh, okay. Yeah, I am sorry the quality's bad. I'm definitely going to try to work on that, JF Airplane, in my next video analysis, so I really apologize for that. But, yeah, I'm really sorry. I can't really do a whole lot because I think I've tried that before where the video quality was increased, but then people complained that it was lagging. So, yeah, sorry about that. Thanks, guys, for giving me the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. JK, Ladyboy City, JF Airplane, JK, CryptoWell. Thanks for joining my analysis. JK says, but Amo, please answer my question on tax. Okay, so what's the question? Okay, will we see a tax loss seeking event in market soon? Tax loss selling. Oh, JK, I really don't think so. Again, for the most part, the selling and everything of the bear pressure in the market, whether it's the ETF rejection, taxes and everything, I think that's all been priced into the market. And right now, what we're seeing is a significant dump off and somewhat of a capitulation in the market that has already resulted in the fact that prices were too overextended to the upside, and now they're coming down to levels where it's more acceptable where Bitcoin should be. And again, this is as per most, what most buyers or sellers, deem worthy for Bitcoin. Okay, but for the most part, I do not see a random, tax event to cause selling. However, you may have, somewhat of a black swan event, meaning, either a big country or someone banning crypto or the SEC really cracking down on crypto, and you'll see a huge dump off like this, but then probably a somewhat of a sharp reversal. But that might be just one, day or a few hours. I don't think that'll be weeks on end. But capitulation has already been happening for the most part, right? These big dumpy candles that you see on the weekly, these are very strong bearish candles, right? Which has taken the prices all the way from 6,500 now to 3,100. So for the most part, I mean, I don't see, taxes and retail investors having a significant impact on the market. And again, guys, there's not even that many people in the crypto space who are still here. I mean, back in the day, we used to have, 200, 300, 400 people watching our videos, but now you see 57. That already tells you that 75% of the people have already left the building. And this is good for us because we are patiently waiting for the bottom in this market, because remember that the winners of the next bull market are going to be made in this bear market. Just like the winners of this previous bull market were made in this bear market, those who bought here in anywhere between $160 to even $300. Even if you bought at $500 or $700, you would have been really happy to sell off, anywhere near the top at like 15, 17, 20,000, right? So that's kind of what I'm waiting on, is to see that the market is going to give me signs of exactly what's going to happen. Okay. Yeah, so guys, you guys will get a free 14-day trial if you join now. So please, join our community. Just go to, www.cryptosomniac, okay? Oops, somniac.com, just like that, cryptosomniac.com. There's a link below. You can click on that, and that will take you to our website, and there you can sign up for a 14-day trial under the products page, okay? Now, another thing to mention is I'm going to teach you guys about support and resistance. as well as supply and demand. Okay, so here we go. All right, so get your thinking hats on. All right, so I'm gonna dial this down to 1 hour. Okay, so here's how supply and demand zones work. Okay, so supply and demand, guys, is really just a fancy word for, you know, support and resistance. But it's important to label them as supply and demand because what exactly happens is, so after you see a big sell-off coming, right, there's a lot of buyers who try to push the prices up higher, okay? But they get rejected because there's a lot of sellers waiting here, and then the price cleanly dumps off. But then you find a new demand zone, meaning, you know, there's a lot of buyers here waiting, and they push the price up all the way into this previous, what was once demand and now supply. So you see how this area right here, coincides with this little area right here. And it's not a coincidence, okay? It's because that the previous buyers back here did not have a chance to sell off, but they will want to break even when the prices reach back up here. And because they're breaking even and they're setting their sell points right here, price just never, you know, escapes this level and beyond. It just dumps off cleanly. And then after that, what's going to happen is people are going to see that, oh, wait a second, this is clearly a supply zone right here. I'm going to wait for a price to come up here and short to the downside, okay? But they see that price never even comes back up there because the sell pressure is so high that people are willing to just sell even if the price comes to this level right here, okay? And then the price just dumps off again. Okay, so this is how you look at horizontal supply and demand zones. And remember that, you know, resistance levels are rarely, if ever, a single point. It's not a single dollar point. It's usually a zone, kind of like this, and also like this. Okay, and you can also see back down here in the demand zone, how exactly do we determine a demand zone, and how do we see that prices came back down to the demand zone and floated here sideways? You can see that every time price touched demand zone, we saw a huge rally, right? So price touched demand once, huge rally, came back down and retested again, huge rally again. Came back here, created a higher low, didn't even touch the demand zone, which is a good thing. And then a decent rally, but then came back down again. But now price, you know, a few hours ago was floating in this area, okay, in the demand zone, which is, again, a bad thing because you cannot float in the demand zone like this without making sure that, you know, you're not absorbing or you're absorbing enough supply, okay? So supply meaning people are selling, demand meaning people are buying, right? So in this area, there's a lot of buyers and sellers meeting at this equilibrium, meaning there's enough buyers and there's enough sellers, but at some point one is going to give. Either the price is going to skyrocket up or it's going to dump down. And for the most part, when price just floats in this demand after being touched multiple times and it getting weaker, you know that this has already gotten weaker and this will break to the downside. And this is why the bear flag, this little bear flag right here, as I pointed out before, like that, was created exactly in this demand zone right here. And then you saw price dump, and now here we are at 31.82. And for the most part, I would probably see a nice, you know, slow decline in prices heading all the way to 3,000. Okay, so as I mentioned, for the most part, supply and demand zones are nothing but support and resistance levels. You just need to know how to draw them. Okay, and if you come join our community, I'll explain how to draw them later today or tomorrow. And I will also be showing you guys, you know, some of my long-term calls again tomorrow. If you guys come join our free membership, okay, or sign up for our membership, our Advantage membership. All right, guys. Over medium term, always better to sell at a loss or dollar cost average. So it depends what kind of person that you are, right? JF Airplane. So for me, I like to dollar cost into alts. So for example, just as an example, right? Say I will buy $500 worth of XLM and Zen every 2 or 3 weeks if the prices keep digging in deeper and deeper. Okay, meaning that the prices keep getting lower and lower because, again, no one really knows what the bottom is. But I know for the most part, BTC is going down, so I'm really happy to buy XLM and Zen at a cheap price. Okay, so that's one way of dollar cost averaging. Another way is to simply wait for the bottoming of the Bitcoin market to see exactly where the bleeding stops, whether it's 3,000, 2,000, 1,200, whatever. Okay, and then you'll see that the alts have also, stopped their bleeding, and then you could start buying. So I don't really know which way is right or wrong, but I, practice a little bit of both. I dollar cost average into some alts, but I also have a significant amount of capital waiting to be put back into the market to see, to make sure that Bitcoin has found its bottom. Okay. Any other questions? Let me try to see and go through my notes and see exactly what's going on. If I missed any notes. As I mentioned in my chart over here, that we did see, a breach of the neckline and the ascending trend line of Bitcoin. And again, I told my community about this, a day or two ago, and we were well prepared for this big dump off because we knew that the head and shoulders pattern had been created. It's only a matter of time till the neckline breaks right here. And after that, you either have a chance to open a short, or you have a chance to sell off your position, take profits in this area, and walk away and wait for a better setup. Okay, so for now, what we're really seeing is, this looks like a somewhat of a hammer candle, but you want to see this next hourly candle at least go halfway into the body of this big candle right here, or at least exceed the wick of this one. This will validate, a small upside, okay, and maybe it'll come down again. But if you want to take a long position, that's how you would look at these candles, telling you a story that, hey, we've found a temporary bottom. You can either open a long now or a short now, etc. Okay, awesome. Let me see if there's any other questions. Hey Tyrone, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining. Let's see if we have any other questions. Mark Bailey, warning, JAFX will not process withdrawals in US dollar, citing vendor issue. Hey, thanks for letting us know that, Mark. I appreciate it. What to do? Well, so that's really, I've never really dealt with that. This is why I always tell people that, if you're at least in the US, please follow reputable exchanges, okay? Coinbase being one, Gemini, Kraken, a few others. I don't really know much about Bitfinex. I don't use it that much, but Coinbase is definitely, a regulated exchange in the United States, so they definitely cannot pull that shit here with US investors. So I know that they're, a reliable source, okay? What about NXT? Yeah, for the most part, guys, if the project looks dead and if you see their Reddit has stalled and they're not putting out any updates and stuff, it might be best, for you to consider selling your position, because, I don't really know if 90% of these cryptos are going to survive. Long Range Crypto says ZRX dropped off Coinbase. No. What do you mean dropped off? I mean, they're still on Coinbase for the most part, as far as I know. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it did dump off. It clearly took out the lows of, this 28 cents on Coinbase, but now it's clearly dumping off hard, as you can see. And again, ZRX is also one of my considerations for the long term. So I'm going to wait till this bleeding stops for ZRX and, pick up when things are dirt cheap. Should we wait for further confirmation of a dump? Aircoinsley is asking. Well, Aircoins, like I said, right? So take a look at this, okay? All right, let's look at every single time frame, okay? On the hourly, you could see that we validated this head and shoulders pattern. We broke down from the ascending trend line, created a bear flag, broke down from that. Now we're just floating sideways, okay? So that's on the 1 hour time frame, we're bearish. On the 4 hour, you can clearly see that these candles for the last 24 hours have opened and closed lower than this low right here, okay? Another bearish sign, right? Whether you want to look on the cloud, any moving average, TD sequential, all of these are telling you that, as you can see on the 4 hour. We're on the 11, the red 11 of 13, and way well below the cloud. You can clearly see that price has dropped relentlessly, and maybe over the next 4 to 8 hours, price might even breach that $3,000 level, and then we might float sideways and up, kind of like we did back here, right? So we went from like a low of $32.96 all the way to a high of like $3,500. So a nice $300 move. So you may have an opportunity for that. But again, if you look on the daily chart, for the most part, I mean, all of this looks bearish. Okay, we're only on a red 2 on the daily chart, and we're well below the Ichimoku cloud. Even on the weekly chart, right? As I said, if we look here, okay, so let's look at the weekly. You can see that the weekly, I mean, we're clearly printing a red 5 below a red 4. Again, a bearish sign, well below the Ichimoku cloud. We're just coming up close to that 200 moving average on the weekly chart right here, as you can see. Okay, so even the weekly chart is telling you that this is a bearish sign. Okay, this is a bearish market. Let's look at the highest time frame that we have here, which is a monthly chart. You can see that the monthly 50 moving average is coming up close, around $2,900, and even the monthly is printing a red 5 on a monthly time frame. This is a significantly bearish sign. So every single time frame is telling you, whether it's hourly, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly, that we're looking bearish. So I would definitely wait. And if you come check out our community, we provide all these analysis and signals to let people know if it's okay to enter a short or long position, or if you should just wait and be patient in this market. Because remember, as Warren Buffett said, right, guys, the stock market, or markets as a whole, are nothing but the transfer of wealth and assets from the impatient to the patient. And this is exactly what's happening in crypto. Same thing. Those who are patient, holding out, waiting patiently, will reap the benefits down the line. But for now, I mean, buying a market like this is really dangerous, Let's see. So ZRX is not listed anymore on their side. I will check on that and get back to you. Come join our community and we'll talk about this, guys. I have to get going. Johnny B, let me answer your question. In your opinion, how much of BTC price explosion was due to manipulation by dodgy exchanges and Tether? That's a really great question, Johnny B. And actually, if you look on, there's this guy named John Griffin, Tether Bitcoin. So this thing right here, okay? So he actually wrote a paper, it's called, Is Bitcoin Really Untethered? He actually stated that, majority of the 2017 rally was due to Tether manipulating prices and pushing Bitcoin to all-time highs, okay? So take a look at that paper, and you might be convinced that, for the most part, Bitcoin should not have reached 20,000. It was a little premature, but the fact that it did, it's fine. But now, the sellers and, for the most part, those who have left the market and are waiting to leave the market will bring BTC back down to its real value, okay? And then you're going to see smart money stepping in, okay? And the smart money will always step in when things look dark, okay? When things look almost dead and crypto and Bitcoin just looks absolutely dead. And like I said, you will know when that happens because you'll have many, many months to look at manipulation, or look at accumulation, sorry, and then you can step in and buy, okay? But for now, you just want to wait patiently, okay? Let's see if we have any other questions. I really appreciate you guys joining. Please give me a thumbs up if you like my analysis, guys. I really do, want to provide you guys the most honest and sound analysis that I can promise. Yeah, so come join our community and let's chat in here. So here's our community right here. As you can see, daily Bitcoin analysis and multiple updates, ICO chat. I have an education channel for, learning how to do TA, all kinds of different resources that I use to trade technicals, different YouTube videos. I've also written down some analysis to help you guys. I've also done a few videos for the community. We have a mining chat. We have ICO chats. Oh, we also discuss Forex and the stock market. Let me check out the stock market while I have you guys. And again, I'm going to focus on the American stock market just because I don't really know that much about the other stock markets around the world. But for the most part, as you can see, the American stock market is still due for a decent correction. That's what it seems like. And it's been correcting for a few months now, all the way back from September, October. And prices keep dumping lower and lower. And so just like I mentioned the supply and demand zone, guys, I said that, this area right here for the SPX, S&P 500, is a demand zone, okay? So again, again, no one trades the S&P 500. It just shows you that, when it comes to the major stocks in the S&P, prices are essentially finding a temporary bottom here. But if they dig in lower and lower, prices are going to dump hard, okay? Thank you, CryptoWell. Michelangelo, my opinion is 3,100 today, tomorrow bullish. That's a bold opinion. Hey, if you want to, buy and put all your money into Bitcoin right now at 3,100, please go for it. I want some screenshots, though, to show that, hey, you truly believe that this is the bottom and tomorrow will go bullish. And if you're right, that's okay. I'm okay with missing, the bottom. Okay, because remember, the best traders will trade the middle, right? So if we look at this chart, they don't want to catch it, way down here. They want to see a bottom and then a higher low created, and then they'll trade to the upside, okay? And that's exactly how the best traders will do it. And then right before it comes to this resistance level, they'll sell off somewhere here, okay? That's where the most amount of money is made by the professional traders, and I think it's okay to follow their advice in how they trade, because none of us are as smart as the professionals, and I really do think that we should pay attention to how they trade rather than how you think crypto or people in crypto trade. Okay, Johnny B, do you think that we can get a significant bounce on ETH or BTC over the next days or weeks, or any small rally? The way it looks right now, Johnny B, is clearly the bearish environment has taken over, and just like, again, I hate to keep mentioning this from the standpoint of 2015, but for the most part, right, once we started dumping off like this big sell-off right here from November 2014 all the way till January 2015, we didn't have these relief rallies meaning price didn't jump up till like give me 1 second, let me show you guys what I mean. Price didn't jump up significantly till like it didn't go like this and then like this and then like this and then like that. It kind of just moved down like this, slide up, down again, slight little bump, and down again. Okay, so that's the continuation that the price has been falling. And for the most part, I mean, I've been saying this for a while, 2018 and 19 is going to be very representative and similar to 2014 and 15. Okay, and I do believe that 3,000 will be a point that we will touch in the next few days, because that's what the technicals are showing us. I cannot definitively say that we're going to 1,300 or 10,000 tomorrow or a week from now. Neither can Michelangelo, because I know he's saying that 5,500 and 6,500 and then a pull down, but he doesn't know, right? Just like none of us know. Unless you're a huge whale and you're actually controlling this market, no one knows. Everyone is just bullshitting. But I know that when we look at the technicals, it's pointing down. The probabilities are on the downside, okay, not to the upside. So we may have a slight relief rally to the upside, maybe back to like 3,600 or 3,500, but then down again, right? Nothing to like 4,000 or 5,000 or 8,000. At least I don't think so. but we'll have to see, right? With all the sell pressure that's been dumped on the market, think about how much, money and volume needs to come into the market to push past those resistance levels to get to 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000. It's going to take a significant amount of work. And that is not going to be possible unless we meet fresh demand, which could be potentially way down here in the $1,200 to $1,900 area, or maybe even, the $2,900 to $1,900. Okay. We break 3K tomorrow, as it would not take much to do it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, JK. It's really not going to take much to break down towards 3,000, guys. For the most part, I mean, the chart is already telling you that we're headed down. Okay, nothing about this chart is showing you that, hey, we might have a small bounce. Okay. All right, guys, my time is up. Please join our community, www.cryptosomniac.com. Come join and we can chat here in our channel. Okay. All right. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. All right. See you guys soon.